Welcome. Hope you have had a good summer. I just wanted to talk about the class since there's about a week or so left before it starts, believe it or not. I have put something on the web, and it's a detailed syllabus for the class, and I would encourage you to take the opportunity to read it. It's a big document simply because I want to give you a clear sense of what you're going to get into. And you want to make a decision whether this class is good for you or not. And even though you have registered, I'd encourage you to read it. It gives you a good sense. But what I'm going to do in the video is I thought I would give you a visual idea and talk to you about the class. And it reflects what's in the syllabus, but hopefully easier to follow and motivate you to go read the syllabus. The first main thing I will talk about are the objectives of the class. And to me, the main objective, the first one, is to learn how to value assets. Assets are what create value in the world. And if you know which is a better asset than the other in terms of creating value for the world, I think you're on board. You're going to make good decisions. And that's the second, if you may, practical purpose of this class. To understand value, to make good decisions. And if you can make good decisions, it kind of empowers you to feel comfortable in a very uncertain world. You're not guaranteed to make great decisions, but you will probabilistically make better decisions, and that's what you want. I want you to understand your environment and what the public policy is all about. Why is that important? Because, as I said, finance's beauty is about valuing assets but making real life decisions. And all of this happens within a context. And in fact, the context is an outcome of our actions. So if you understand the interaction between decisions and what's happening and public policy, it'll help you. Now, will it be a perfect understanding? No. But I guarantee you, when you read the popular press, you'll be able to understand things a bit better. And I would encourage you to read critically, not just like a consumer. Finally, I hope this class motivates you to learn. Learning is a very powerful thing in life, and I'll talk about it a little bit later more in depth, but when you learn more, learn finance. And the reason is, if you know finance, you pretty much know most of anything you want to know in life. And I'm kind of serious about it. That's the funny part. So objectives, why you want to do, think about it. And I hope you're convinced that this is something that you really need to learn. What are the prerequisites? I've been receiving emails about prerequisites. This is a question that we always get, even in live classes. And this is very tough for me, because fundamentally, it could be everything in life or nothing. And prerequisites could be nothing or everything. Why am I saying that? It's because if you go into the detail or development of finance, the first thing that's at the basis of finance is economics. And economics is actually called the mother discipline of finance. It has borrowed mostly from that discipline. So I would encourage you to know that. Behavioral science is also becoming important over time, but economics remains the basic paradigm. Accounting. I must admit, accounting, though I know some of it, is kind of boring. But it's a language. I mean, it's like, if you didn't understand me, because I'm speaking in English, there would be a problem. Similarly, if you don't understand accounting, you cannot understand what's going on. And because it's imperfect, like every other language, you really have to know it. I promise you, I will give you hints of what to do when we do accounting, because we can't do all of it. One last thing about prerequisites. Algebra and statistics are other formal subject matters that we need. And I think you need this for everything. With so much data available on anything under the sun, knowing algebra and statistics is very important. And I hope my treatment of the subject matter will motivate you to learn a lot more, rather than seeing it as a hurdle to understanding things. So these are the formal things you could think about, but don't worry about it. As I said, if you have curiosity and a bad attitude, and a bad attitude is one which says, give me anything, I'll handle it. If you have that attitude, you will do very well in this class and you'll learn a ton. Not just this in class, in life. And so bring that attitude and we'll be fine. Now I'll talk about something that's very important, and it's called pedagogy. How do I conduct the class? This class, because of the value of finance being both theory, framework, and practical, is all driven by problem solving. I will always force you to do problems because that's how you learn. What does that mean? Everything I introduce in class will not be preceded by a formula. Finance has a lot of algebra, a lot of formulas, but I will always tell you why we are doing something, not what it's all about. Why is far more important to life than the what. The what you can Google, right? So if you can Google and get what I'm providing you in the class, I'm not providing you much. So because finance is applied, we'll emphasize problem solving and everything will be introduced with an example. However, I want you to recognize that you have to do most of the work. I'm a coach, you have to do the work. I hope I'm a good coach and I motivate you and give you the main issues you need to worry about, right? In life, there are not that many issues. 4 or 5. One is love, the rest is kind of follows a little bit. Number 2 is finance in my book. But anyway, so you'll be doing assignments every week, and I encourage you, whether they're called quizzes or not, quizzes or assignments, do them. You'll have 1 per week and a final. You'll have deadlines for these like in a real class, and you must do these. Apart from getting a certificate, you'll learn. Finally, I want you to know how I've structured the class. I think this is true of most Coursera classes. It's highly recommended to mimic the real world or face-to-face classes on some dimensions. So one of the dimensions is I will release material 1 week at a time. You will not be able to get into the 10-week class and do the whole class in a week. Why am I doing that? For 2 reasons. 1, I genuinely believe that you need time to understand new stuff and practice assignments, problems within the videos. And if you understand the stuff, you're better off, you can go to the next step. Luckily, finance builds on stuff. So you have to know the first week to know the second week and so on. The second reason is probably more important, of releasing stuff 1 week at a time. So synchronous, I mean not at a point in time, but for a week. The second reason is that learning happens from each other. So when I do these classes live, all assignments are in a group and they evaluate each other. Not everybody gets the same grade. So this I can't mimic online, but you can. Join the forums and learn from each other. In fact, I believe you learn far more that way than you learn from my videos, and I actually hope that's the case. Now, content and materials is important. The main material you will get from me is the video. For every week, there'll be approximately 2 hours worth of video broken up into pieces. Because finance is so applied, you'll have many opportunities to pause the videos whether I ask you to pause or not. This is very important. Every time I put up a problem and you're reading it, please recognize that this is an opportunity for you to learn the stuff by doing the problem first and then starting the video and doing it together with me. This is my main advice to you. Take every opportunity to do the problems in the videos. So you'll have a lot of testing, self-testing opportunities. Having said that, video is the main resource. What do I mean by that? I'm not going to give you PowerPoint versions of the video. To me, PowerPoint is great, but it also makes you go to sleep. Online learning has huge advantages. You can make your own class notes, and I encourage you to, from the video. But be an active listener, not sitting back having a coffee. And you can do that too when you want to, of course. I can't possibly watch. But I would encourage you to be an active participant in the video, and hopefully, if I'm interesting enough, right? But I will provide you very few notes, and these are largely geared towards stuff that you need to know at one place. So 2 or 3 of these: review of statistics, some notes on how to use Excel or a financial calculator, and some formulas put together. But I must emphasize, don't go by the how to do things. First understand what the heck is going on and why. Another resource I'll give you is there are many textbooks written on finance. Finance took off in the late 50s, and for the next 30 years, there were a lot of really great breakthroughs. And those breakthroughs form the fundamentals, and great textbooks are available. And I give you some, I give you references. But there's one textbook which you may want to look at, which is free on the web, written by a colleague who allows you to read the stuff free, not download, and so on. So please, when you use this textbook, don't try to download the stuff. You're violating copyright. I also encourage you to look at the other textbooks, and don't worry about which edition it is. The fundamentals are the same. So choose a reference for yourself. But please recognize, I'm not following any specific textbook page by page. If I were, this class wouldn't be very useful, you know. So I'm doing the essence of finance at an introductory level, but you need to have some reference, and there are several options. So make a choice soon. Finally, the material that is kind of comes second in importance to the videos are the assignments. And I've talked enough about them, but I would encourage you again to do the assignments. Try them even before looking at the video. You know, that's a kind of a challenge to try to understand what's going on. Test yourself all the time. I'm going to now, talking about testing, I'm going to move over to how do we evaluate. Why are we evaluating you? Because we'll give you a certificate. And the certificate has to have some criteria, right? I'm not a big fan of grading. In fact, I feel that's the least enjoyable part of my life. And partly because it's kind of boring, but also because who am I? You know, I mean, you're learning, you should be able to grade yourself and so on, but the world is complex, so let's talk about evaluation for a second. It'll be pass-fail. So how do I determine pass or fail? You get a certificate if you pass. You will not get a certificate. So my grading philosophy is very simple. It's not mine. It's borrowed from my reading of grading in particular. And basically the notion here is, do you know enough rather than do you get 100%? So on each assignment, you have to get 70%. If you don't get 70% on any one assignment, you cannot get a certificate. Similarly, you have to get 70% on the final, which is in the last week. You don't have an assignment in the last week, but you have a final. The good news is that you'll get feedback immediately from the computer as you're taking them. And for the assignments, you have the whole week. Whereas for the final, I'll let you know how much time you have. The real good news, however, is because I'm interested in you learning rather than testing you just once and saying, forget about it, this guy or gal doesn't know something. I'm more interested in what you know rather than what you don't know. So I'll give you 2 attempts at each of one of these. Each assignment 2 attempts, final 2 attempts. But you have to finish within the deadlines, both the attempts. Otherwise you cannot, your score cannot count. We have to have some criteria, right? Now, dealing with me or the teaching assistant. And this is one of the things that I think is a little bit of a disadvantage in the online class. This class is really large. I do not want to get into the numbers because I want you to think of this class as just for you. I mean, I think that's the beauty of online class. So it's a large class. What can't we do? I would encourage you, please don't attempt to contact me or my teaching assistant, Nathan Brown. And the reason is you can easily find our emails and shoot an email. It's not that we don't love you. I love you all. There's a heart that beats in each one of you, and that's my requirement for loving. You know, I mean, in fact, even plants have lives, right? So, but in any event, coming back to the basics, I cannot afford to answer emails, and Nathan cannot, because it will become unmanageable at our end. So I would encourage you not to try to contact us. So what will we do? We'll provide all the resources on a weekly basis. They'll come, you'll know what you want, you'll know exactly what's needed to be done. And the teaching assistant, Nathan, will monitor the class for any errors and so on and so forth. But our goal is to make this class self-sufficient. How? There's only one teaching assistant and only one me. But there are hundreds and thousands of you taking this class currently. Your talking to each other is going to be more powerful a learning tool. So say, for example, I make an error. And actually I have made errors in the videos, but I don't try to fix them and, you know, cut out that clip, simply because we all make mistakes. I correct the error in real time with you, and usually they are small, and I guarantee you they will be small. But if you find something, don't say, oh, you know what, Gautam made a mistake. Well, you'll make mistakes, I make mistakes. Your attitude should be, I'll sort out what that mistake is. Finally, this class is about ambiguity and learning, and I would encourage you to take that attitude towards it. Okay? One last thing which I feel compelled to talk about, because I have prepared most of the class and I wanted to share with you, why did I say yes to it? Why did I choose to do something online? The first reason is I believe education should be accessible to all. Why do I believe that? Because I believe education almost is like a right. It's almost like a right to breathe. I know I have strong views about it, but I genuinely believe that education makes you become empowered. Most valuable investment you could ever make is education. What do I mean by that? Remember, if you want electricity, which is good, you're willing to burn coal. However, burning coal leads to some problems, some costs on society, and on you too. Education is an investment that largely gives you benefits. Why wouldn't you want to do that? Why wouldn't you want to make an investment in yourself? My goal in this investment is to empower you, not to be dependent on a coach like me or any other person, but to take this class and say, I can do it too. And that's the beauty of education. I'll make a couple more points and then we'll see each other in about a week. This has been a real challenge for me as a teacher. I've always wanted to be able to teach everybody, every single person, and that's not been easy. And I don't think I can teach everybody. But this experiment, hopefully, which becomes an ongoing activity in my life, I feel like this gives me the ability to reach out to you on a one-to-one basis and hopefully make you learn and be excited. Finally, I love change and uncertainty, because life would be pretty boring if I knew exactly what was going to happen when. I know sometimes in life we want certainty, but I'm talking about most of life. Uncertainty is what gives you value in life. So remember, we are experimenting here. I want you to come with that attitude. I'm going to learn finance in a new way, and I'm going to go with it. There'll be glitches, there'll be errors made along the way from your side, maybe from technology, maybe from some errors in the assignments or so on and so forth. I'm almost sure we'll try our best not for that to happen. But if something happens, remember, you are a pioneer, I'm a pioneer, and we are working on it together. I'm looking forward to seeing you in a week, and may the force be with you. See you soon.